All right, second episode back. So we received a comment. Comment says, I'd love to see a discussion about intentional practice. I think that's a very good one, mainly because a lot of students or just golfers in general trying to improve their game, they really just don't know how to practice. So intentional practice, like if we look at it from the web, a highly structured, goal-driven, actively focused on improving specific skills rather than just mindless repetition. So golfers go in with the intent of having intentional practice or deliberate practice or purposeful practice, whatever we want to call it. The problem that I see as a coach is that when you go to practice, you don't have a plan, right? You just go out there, you get a bucket of balls, or you go into a simulator, and you start just hitting shots. So the whole thing is that within a lesson, the instructor or the coach is giving you something specifically to focus on, to work on. Now, you go to the range and you have this in your mind and you have intention and you want to practice with purpose and deliberate. You want to do the right things. But the thing is that you either don't have the training that was used, or you just really don't have the mindset. You don't have really a plan, as I was just saying. So the whole thing is that if you're going to get better, you have to have a plan for practice. So you either ask your coach about how should I practice? So these things are very, very important to kind of get the wheels moving correctly for your improvement. So the struggle too with trying to practice is really the attention span of practice, or the want and need to try and take it to the course right away. So the best players in the world that work with the top instructors in the world, we'll say like the top 10 in the world, so like a Butch Harmon or like a David Ledbetter or a Mike Bender. You got Sean Foley, you got Como, you got all these people that are coming up through the ranks that have had some tour player success. But deep down, when they're working with their players, they're coming across the same issues with those tour players. Where the tour player is like, I need immediate change, I need this, I need this, I need this. We're all very, very demanding as individuals. Just think of frustration in a supermarket or trying to buy a car or something like that. This stuff is just ingrained in us, is that our attention spans are so weak, especially with today's society, that we want things now. And the problem with that is we've lost sight in really understanding, understanding what it really means to develop something. So if we look at, say you're a lawyer, a doctor, or you're a bricklayer, or you're a plumber, it takes years to develop that skill set. So it's kind of thinking, like I always say with my doctor students is, did they let you start to operate on someone after day one? No. 7 years in med school and then your residency and so on and so forth. Trying to get the mindset of really becoming a learner again is most important. Now, back to the plan. Like, you have to have a plan of action and how you're going to practice. Now, that can either be something that you do on your own, and or you work with your coach or your instructor to help devise or build a plan for practice. So going to the range, and as we see here, mindless repetition. So, just repeating something over and over again is not really going to get you where you want to be. So there has to be a lot of structure within that. So building the plan is really understanding that you need to slow things down. You need to take the time to think about what you're actually doing and not just, grab your club, get the ball on the mat or the grass or in the simulator, wherever you're at, and just start hitting golf shots. Okay, because first, you don't know how to hit a golf shot. You're just striking a golf ball. So you're taking a crooked stick, swinging at the ball, and you're watching the results and you're trying to say, okay, let me determine what I need to change. And this is another issue that comes into practice. Now you can see how I'm starting to get ramped up about this. All right, is that you're trying to self-consult yourself at all times. So you hit one shot, it goes to the right, you start to calculate there's a change that needs to be made. You hit another shot, it goes to the left. Calculation, something needs to change. So now you're just in this perpetual process of good and bad results. Should I do this? Should I do that? Let me look on my phone. Let me do this. And you're losing sight of what your coach or your instructor gave you to do. Okay? So if that involved a training aid, you need to buy the training aid. You need to stick to the regimen that the coach and instructor has given you. And you need to focus on doing that, again, slowly. I always tell my students, the slower you move, the faster you learn. There are three main things that help a motor skill or to develop a motor skill. Is that I tell students that it is resistance, it is weight, and it's slowing down. So when you go and take a golf lesson, you're expecting like the whole world will just change and all of a sudden you're starting to shoot, let's say someone who can't break 100, you can just break 100. Someone who can't break 90 just breaks 90, and someone who can't break 80, and so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. So the thing is that you have to remember you're developing neural pathways to move a particular way to strike the ball in the center of the club face. If you're not focused on that, then you're always going to struggle within practice. So back to the plan again. Think about working out. When you go and you think of your workout for the week, and you know, Americans are very conscious of like losing weight and dieting and going to the gym. Definitely we see it always at the turn of the year with New Year's resolutions, right? I'm going to join a gym, I'm going to do this, I'm going to change my diet. So the whole thing is that within diet systems and or workout regimens is that there is structure to how to work out. So understanding how to live correctly or to eat correctly takes training, and it takes time to build that habit. So when you're going to say the gym, you have Monday is leg day, Tuesday is chest day, let's say you skip a day, and Thursday is arm day, and so on and so forth. So this is what we all see within society when it comes to working out. Dieting is, you know, okay, I need to watch how much I take in carbohydrate wise. I need to focus on eating less meat. I need to focus on eating more grain, whatever it is, you know, gluten issues, whatever you got. So with golf, we take the lesson, we immediately think it's like a plug and play, like we're like the Matrix or something, and you know, we're gonna sit there and tell Trinity that now she can fly a helicopter. So we take that information and we just think we can just apply it. So it's like, okay, that's how it's supposed to be done, I can apply it. You're forgetting that's a motor skill. You have to develop it. So you need to spend time working at it slowly and developing it into a habit. Diet, workout, same thing, okay? So when you're going to, say, begin to practice, you need to go out there with a plan. You need to tell yourself how much time you're going to spend working on this particular skill and move slowly, okay? Find the training aid. Work without a ball. Motion practice is huge because you're letting your body just focus on the movement and not worrying about contact to the ball, which always gets you distracted because you see the result, or you mishit it, you hit it fat, it goes right, it goes left, and then you're immediately just abandoning ship and saying, okay, I need to try to fix the ball flight. Just remember, you have no idea how to control ball flight, and that's why you're working with somebody to teach you how to control ball flight. Now, I hope someone says, you know, Derek, I really would love a video about face path relationship because I can go through the world with that and helping people understand how that actually works. But to the whole idea of deliberate practice, intentional practice, practicing with purpose, the real, like, let's say the meat and potatoes of it is that you need to formulate a plan. Personally, or you're struggling with that, then you need to speak with your coach or your instructor to develop a plan. you need to look at your game as a whole and not just, the swing itself. The swing is very, very important. The ability to swing a club correctly and able to repeat those movements to strike the ball more to the center of the face is super important. But when we look at it, is that if we go back to thinking of working out, it's leg day, it's chest day, it's arm day, it's cardio day, or whatever it is, you got to look at your game like that. You need to start saying to yourself, okay, Mondays I'm going to work on putting. Well, what specifically are you going to work on putting? You got to ask yourself that. Okay? This kind of goes back to the very first video I ever released on Sunday Stick, which was data. And if people come in, they literally have no idea what's really wrong with their game. They just go, I slice it and I top it and I play poorly and I'm inconsistent. I digress. I'm not going to go down that road again. So you got to think of it as a workout routine. Monday is putting day. Wednesday is short game day. Be specific in your short game. I'm going to work on the bunker. I'm going to work on chipping. I'm going to work on, hitting over a bunker. And then I'm going to go to Friday. I'm going to start working on my long game. I'm going to start working on this and that. And you just got to start delegating within the week what you're going to specifically work on. So a tour player is very calculated through this, especially when they're working with, the likes of the top coaches in the world, is that they're very, very focused on specific areas of the game they're trying to improve. If it's in their full swing, let's say they have a hook issue, they're working on potentially a new release technique or a particular mindset, focusing more targeting. Sometimes it can be more mental than it actually is physical for elite players out there. And that goes without saying within all sports, from the NFL to the NBA to the NHL to the Olympic athletes out there. One of my newer students was I think he said he was a professional downhill skier, like Lindsey Vonn or something like that. And he was telling me all this stuff he had to remember to do while he's going, 60, 80 miles an hour down an icy slope that's slanted at 40-degree grade. Imagine trying to learn that slowly. So golf in retro, in my opinion, would be much easier to understand and learn. But let's go back to that. So you have to tell yourself that if you're going to improve a skill, we all are golfers. We want to play better. We want to shoot lower numbers. We want to beat our friends. We want to maybe be competitive about it, or we even have ambitions to play the high school level to the collegiate level to the semi-tour to even going pro. It is something that takes time. We have to set our mindset to be a learner and not a fixer. Okay, that's why you hire somebody to work with you. They're the fixer and you're just working the fix from what they say. But building a plan, having a weekly routine of what you're going to work on is important, from full swing to short game to putting to even course management. And that's one of the things that most golfers, they slightly develop if they play the same course over and over again. But you need to understand that tour players, when you watch them, they are being very, very deliberate in understanding the conditions and the course's demands and finding its weaknesses and knowing its strengths. That's why I like to tell a lot of students, golf is like a game of chess. Okay, the whole thing is that you are actually the black piece in chess. You're the defending side, versus the course is the white piece. And it's already set. It's already made its moves, and you have to defend and play to the course's demands. And not even just the course, but the environment too. When you're dealing with, the wind conditions, barometric pressure, the moisture in the air, the temperature, all the other things going on around it. So there is a lot within this game that you have to learn. But if you just focus on trying to get immediate results of perfection and hitting and playing and doing all these things immediately, you are literally just going to spin your wheels and waste your time. Waste your time more than you realize. And I have so many students that will take a lesson and they go play golf and they come back, I didn't play any better, I played worse. Because you're thinking about what you're supposed to change while you're trying to play the game. Okay, now there is course to be able to get on a course and work a change, but you cannot focus on the scoring aspect. You have to focus on a mindset of a feel that you developed within your plan of practice and development to then try to apply that to the course. Right? This is a game for a lifetime. There are books that are titled that way. You hear caddies and pros. You hear some of the best instructors. You hear some of the golf gurus out there. This is a game for a lifetime. Don't think that you just need to just have it now. Develop it, appreciate it, and understand that this is a game that all sports athletes come to and call it harder than what their profession was. And there's good reason in that, because there's so many avenues and attributes and things that you have to develop and learn that are ever changing through technology or the conditions of the course or the course you're playing or the people you're around. All these things matter. All these things matter. So with the question at hand, discussion of intentional practice, you have to have a plan. And you can find them online. There's plenty of people that can give, dialogue and say like how it's supposed to be. But the classic is just think of your workout routine or your dietary changes or your work schedule. This set of time is dedicated to this. And don't just leave it to the full swing. Deal with it in the short game, in the putting, in the specialty shots, or troubleshooting getting out of trouble. Bunker play is so under practiced. Putting is under practiced. The percentage of shots used on the course that is putting, I believe, is still 44.7% of your game. Now, most people, and I'm going to go a little bit of a tangent, come to me and they say that they're a good putter, also because they don't hit a lot of GIRs. They don't have a lot of green and regulations. So they're chipping from off the green and they're getting two putts from within 15, 20 feet. In the end, it's like, well, I'm two putting every hole. Well, we do the math of that. We're over the 30s in putts, right? We might not have a lot of putts. You got to look at also is like the statistic of understanding like the amount of feet of amount of footage you've made is also critical to bring into this. Now, we'll not go too much further down that, but back to it. Have a plan. If you're struggling to develop a plan, you talk to me or people like me. What is it I need to do? Well, first we have to understand what your game is demanding for improvement, and then we build a plan within that, outside of just the full swing struggles. We can make major changes in scoring pretty quickly by giving ourselves more time actually working the scoring zone, which is basically 100 yards and in. Get better at your wedge development. Get fitted for wedges. Understand the lie angles and the bounce and the grinds and the things that matter within how to hit wedges. And then your bunker play. I go out and play with my students and they always say, for the very first time out of all the time I've ever known them, I don't know how to hit out bunkers. Well, I remember when we were talking about the evals, you said you're good at beating. Okay, you're a good putter, but I don't see. How are you reading the greens? You don't understand. I don't believe in that. Why? Because I watched it online. Okay? Build a plan and give yourself an opportunity to work the entirety of your game. And for those that are people that have never played the game, developing a swing, thinking that they can't go on the course until their swing is mastered, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. You need to make sure that you're actually getting out there and playing. Even if it's just like an executive course, a par 3 course, a playing 9, or actually just getting out there and playing 18. You can't just build a swing with no idea how it actually works within the environment. So for those that believe that they need to wait until their swing is ready, no. Go out there, break the ice, see what it's like to actually play the game of golf. Now, as we said, bring the comments. I will break down, unpack all that stuff I said, and walk you through it. All right? So I hope this video is helpful, but just understand, build a plan for practice. Don't just, I'm going to go to the course and I'm going to go hit golf balls and I'm going to do the same thing over and over again. And if you're struggling with that, then you need to speak to your coach, your instructor, or whoever it is that's helping you improve your game, and ask them to sit down with you and build a plan. And for all my students, I'm open. Bring it to me and I will work with you to build a proper practice regimen. This is Sunday Stick. I look forward to the comments, and I'll tell you, you're the content. Give me what you want to talk about and let's make it happen.